Well, it's time for me to start another vlog, and my vlogs now, just through these next few months, a couple of months anyway, are going to be less frequent, maybe between every 2.5 to 3 weeks, because there's little to do in the garden. I just got the bedding plants to continue to look after, and then as far as the vegetables are concerned, it's just the runner beans left, and then the tomatoes in the greenhouse, which will just need watering and picking when they're ready. So for this vlog, I'm going to do just something a little bit different. The three things I'm going to concentrate on. The first is that I'm going to do my normal monthly 360-degree photograph, which I'll do in the middle of the garden. This time I won't do one in the greenhouse because it's no different to what it was the last time. And then I'll put a little bit on the vlog about watering the garden. And then the third thing I'm going to do on this vlog is that I'm going to have a drone shot that I took of the area around where we live, and I'll point out a couple of things in there, and then it'll come down, just focus on the garden as well, which I took about 3 weeks ago. So for now, it's just to do the 360 shot on this, the Insta360 X5. And so the first thing I've got to do is I've got to turn this on. And there it is, it's turned on, set there for photograph, so that's all ready. But then the next important step is that I have to turn the camera on in the app. So I'll do that. So the app is finding that camera to connect to talk with it. That is done. So I'll put the phone down for a moment and set the camera out on the lawn. And to do that, I will have to use a brick just to steady the tripod at the bottom, because it's quite breezy this morning and I don't want it to blow over. So there we go. I've already got a brick there ready. So I'll set the camera down there facing towards that fence at the side. And it doesn't matter that the camera is tilting, because the software inside will correct the level for me. So that's ready there. So to complete the process now, I go just inside my utility area, where I will be out of sight because I don't want to be in the photograph. And so we'll do that now. So I've come into the utility area. I've got this camera on a shorter tripod, so I'm kneeling down. So what I'll do now is I'll zoom in on this camera so that you can see my phone screen a little bit easier. And this is connected to the camera on the lawn. And so that's the view on that camera. I can swirl it around and you can see how it takes a picture of 360 degrees. It'll go that way, or it'll go that way up to the sky, or down to the floor where you will see the tripod there on the brick. But I want to take one of the garden itself, so it doesn't matter where I start it off. I'll start it there. I'll press the shutter button, which will operate the camera on the lawn, and it's capturing the shot. And I usually take a couple, so I'll take another one by moving the camera around another angle to start with. And then I'll just do another one. Now I can go out of that now to the look at the pictures that are on the camera, and I can choose any of the ones that I've just taken. So for example, the one I've just taken, I'll click on that, and there it is, it's opening it up on the phone, and that's what I will eventually open up on the computer, and on the computer then I will convert that to become a 360-degree video. And so that's that part of the process, and when I upload this later I will take you through the rest of the process. So now I've got the file saved off the camera onto my computer screen by here. I will load up the program that I need to work on it with, which is Insta360 Studio, and I will drag the document onto there. And so that's the file that the camera produces, and I can mess about with that in all sorts of different ways. Could turn it around so that like that. But what I want to do is I want to make a video out of it, so I'll press animate, and then it levels it up to a decent picture like this, and I'll start my starting point. So what I'll do is I'll do it so that the edge of the door is level by there, and I'll go to the setting just up by here, that one, and I've got color plus on, so I'll just switch that off for a minute. Yeah, I'll leave color plus on because it just gives a bit more blue to the sky. And this is at the beginning, so I'll press the plus there, which allows me to decide now that that's where I want my video to start, and it's in mega, so it's a good big picture. So I click OK, and then what I do is, because I've got the crosshairs on the picture, I know that the midway point of the video is going to be there. So I'll drag from here, I'll drag that white line till it comes to roughly where the middle of the picture is there. So that's halfway for the video. Then I'll rotate the picture on the screen until it's exactly opposite to where we started, which will be where the shed and the greenhouse are. And I'll keep the level to do with roughly the window pane there on the conservatory. So I'm happy with that, so I'll press the plus by here again, and the same thing comes up again. That's where I want it, so I'll just click there and that'll disappear. And then I'll drag this white line right the way across to the end of the video, to by there, and then I'll spin the picture around again to roughly the same position as we were where we started. So I use the edge of the door to start as my key point. That's there, and then I'll press this plus again. This comes up again, press by there, and that's the 360 video. So I'll go over here now, set it back to the very beginning, and press play. And that's the video that's produced from that one photograph. It's set in such a way that the bottom is out of the picture, so there's no brick, there's no tripod showing. It's just exactly what we want showing around the garden. Now I'm happy with that, so what I do is I go up to the top here on the right and press export, and now I choose my settings. So I want to go to 4K quality, so I double that 1920 to 3840. That will automatically change, and then the bit rate I'll take that right up to 100. (101), that's near enough, it shows it by that. And then that tells me the file size is going to be 189.62 megabytes. So now I can change the file name. I'll keep the original file, but in front of it I'll put Garden 360 July 2026 and press Start Export. And then it's going to write. I already did a practice one. It's going to write over that one. And in a moment, it'll tell me that it's done. And that's completed that. So I'll minimize the screen. There's the file we've just produced here. I'll double click on that and put it full screen and press play. So that's the completed file. So once I've got that into the video for the vlog, I can choose to keep it at that speed, I can choose to slow it down, or I can choose to speed it up. For this occasion, I will slow it down by 50% so that it doesn't spin around quite so fast. So that's the process, and the video now will follow. So now I'll just talk a little bit about watering the garden. I try to water it as much as I can when we don't have any rain, and this year has been an extremely dry couple of months after a very wet winter, and so it's been a struggle to keep the garden as wet as I would like it to have been. And you can see here that the flowers, they're looking okay, but they're not getting as much water as I would like them to get. Obviously I've got an outside tap which I will show by here, and so I've got hose pipes. I've got one that is following down the side of the fence here, which I can take from there, and I can connect that to there and run the pipe down to the bottom of the garden. And then I take this reel of hose here and I attach that to the other end, and I can use that to water down the bottom of the garden. And then I've also got around the side here, next to my bags of compost, another hose pipe that's rolled up, which I can take again to that tap, and then that excuse the junk that's down by the side, is then attached to the wall and follows up around the side of the house to the front of the house. And so then I take this other hose from here and connect that, and that enables me to water the front of the garden, and of course connect to the pressure washer to wash the car as well. But I've also got this water butt here, which is taking the water off the conservatory roof. This I fitted just about a month, 6-7 weeks ago perhaps, and that fills up very quick if it rains, so that's handy to be able to fill the watering can from there. And then if I go back down to the bottom of the garden and behind the greenhouse, I've also got another water butt that takes the water off the garden shed. But this is a bit of a nuisance to get round to. So what I've done is that I've got some hose pipe that I fitted here with a Jubilee clip onto this, and this is permanently switched on, and it goes down behind the side of the greenhouse. And it comes out by here, and I've got a temporary fitting on there at the moment. It's got taps on it, and I can turn the one tap there, and keep it low because of the fact that the butt is quite low, and the water runs out of there to enable me to fill the watering cans this side instead of having to go out there around the back. And then for going in the garden, I have a couple of sprinklers, and I'll set one of these up here now. So if I put that down by there, and I'll set the camera loose on a tripod. And I connect the hose pipe over there, and so here I am. I just connect it onto there and use it as a sprinkler. Now the interesting thing is that if you pick that up and try to do that, you run the risk of trying to get yourself splashed with the water. And instead of having to run back to switch the tap off, the obvious answer is to just pinch it by there to stop the flow of the water, and then plug it in and then allow it to start. It doesn't matter that it's going on the camera because the camera is waterproof, and I'm just going to leave that on the lawn just for a few minutes.